Mick and I have been performing together for years now. Folks,
It's so nice to have you back, and
wonderful.
I think we're going to
Great
sing
to
you a
have you
little
on the
song,
show.
which it's
Yes,
really
I'm
nice.
lonely.
You all definitely know this rock legend. Yep, none other than Mick Jagger, the one and only frontman of the Rolling Stones, and probably the most eccentric vocalist the world has ever seen. For more than 6 decades, Mick Jagger has been the magnetic frontman of the Rolling Stones, a figure whose energy and ambition helped define the very spirit of rock and roll. Yet, despite his towering influence and the band's countless hits, Jagger has always been candid about his dissatisfaction with parts of the Stones' catalog. Hello to all you classic music lovers, the cool gentlemen of the good old days, and even now. Let's rewind time and enjoy a heartwarming wave of nostalgia together. Unlike many artists who celebrate every song they've made, Jagger has often reflected on his own work with brutal honesty. Through interviews and retrospectives, he has revealed that not every Stones recording met his standards. Some songs, even famous ones, he has openly criticized or dismissed. Here are 7 Rolling Stones songs that Mick Jagger has, at different points in time, admitted he didn't really like. Number 7. Backstreet Girl, 1967. When Between the Buttons arrived in 1967, the Rolling Stones were deep into a period of experimentation. The album featured whimsical production, layered harmonies, and a more refined sound, far from the raw blues roots that had defined their earlier years. Jagger, however, was unimpressed. He later said, "I don't like that album much. I think the only good song on it is Backstreet Girl." The remark encapsulated his frustration with that era. While Backstreet Girl was praised for its delicate melody and its melancholic French waltz tone, Jagger's faint praise only highlighted his disappointment with the rest of the material. For him, the album symbolized a creative detour that strayed too far from the essence of what made the Rolling Stones powerful. Number 6. Between the Buttons, album, 1967. If there was one album that Jagger seemed particularly unhappy about, it was Between the Buttons itself. Looking back, he admitted that the final product fell short of his expectations. "It's not very good," he once said bluntly. The song sounded great at the time, but I don't think we captured them very well. "We lost the sound of it." Jagger's complaint stemmed from the heavy studio production, which buried the band's signature energy under layers of overdubs and experimental effects. Keith Richards, on the other hand, had a more forgiving view, but Jagger consistently regarded it as one of their weaker efforts. Even though later critics would come to appreciate its quirky charm, Jagger never changed his mind. Between the Buttons remained, to him, a beautiful misfire. Number 5. Brown Sugar, 1971. Few Rolling Stones songs are as famous as Brown Sugar, the swaggering opener to Sticky Fingers. Yet, Jagger's relationship with the track has grown complicated over the years. Although it became one of their defining hits, he later acknowledged discomfort with its lyrical themes. "God knows what I'm on about in that song," he admitted. "It's such a mishmash, all the nasty subjects in one go." The lyrics, written when Jagger was in his late 20s, referenced slavery, race, and sexuality in a way that he later called problematic. He added, "I would never write that song now." For him, Brown Sugar reflected a time when provocation was part of the band's DNA. But as the world changed, so did his sense of responsibility as a songwriter. It remains a song he performs less frequently, and one he views with a mixture of pride and regret. Number 4. Pretty Beat Up, 1983. By the early 1980s, tensions between Jagger and Keith Richards had reached a peak. The Undercover sessions were marked by creative disagreement and exhaustion. Among the tracks that emerged was Pretty Beat Up, a funky and chaotic tune that failed to impress its own creators. Jagger later said he wasn't particularly fond of the song, and questioned whether it even belonged on the album. Richards, who co-wrote it, was more defensive, calling it Keith's track, while Jagger described it as one of those songs that didn't really go anywhere. The admission was unsurprising. Undercover was a record created amid internal conflict, and Pretty Beat Up represented the uneven energy of that period. For Jagger, it was one of several songs that simply didn't live up to the Stones' legacy. Number 3. All Sold Out and Who's Been Sleeping Here, 1967. Both of these songs, like Backstreet Girl, came from Between the Buttons, and Jagger's distaste for them was part of his wider disappointment with that project. When discussing the album, he said, "It's a bit of a mess, really. It doesn't sound like a band playing together." That lack of cohesion frustrated him. All Sold Out had a restless rhythm that critics later found inventive, but Jagger heard only confusion in the final mix. Who's Been Sleeping Here fared no better. Its Dylan-esque tone felt out of place to him. What fans now celebrate as experimental creativity, Jagger remembered as technical frustration, an example of how the band's ambition sometimes got ahead of its execution. Number 2, Emotional Rescue, 1980. After the massive success of Some Girls, the Rolling Stones followed up with Emotional Rescue, a record that leaned heavily on disco and funk elements. The title track became a hit, but Jagger himself wasn't satisfied. "It was done very quickly, maybe too quickly," he said in an interview. The vocal could have been better. Despite its catchy falsetto and pulsing groove, he viewed the song as underdeveloped. The admission is typical of Jagger. Even when a track becomes commercially successful, he remains his own harshest critic. Fans may love Emotional Rescue for its playful energy, but Jagger's perfectionism left him unable to appreciate it fully. In his view, the song captured a moment, but not the depth he was aiming for. Number 1, Scarlet, recorded 1973, released 2020. In 2020, the Rolling Stones unearthed a previously unreleased track called Scarlet, recorded in 1973 with Led Zeppelin guitarist Jimmy Page. When Jagger first listened back to the rediscovered session tapes, his reaction was far from enthusiastic. "When I first heard them, I went, 'They're all terrible,'" he admitted. "Then I listened again and thought, actually, they're not that bad." The candid comment perfectly summed up his tendency to judge old work harshly before reassessing it. Eventually, he warmed to Scarlet, calling it a great example of the loose, spontaneous way we used to play. Still, his initial dismissal showed how self-critical he remains, even when revisiting the band's golden era. Mick Jagger's honesty about his own music reveals more than just personal taste. It shows the mindset of a lifelong perfectionist. Unlike many artists who protect their work from criticism, he evaluates his catalog with the same sharp eye as a journalist or historian might. Songs like Brown Sugar trouble him for their themes, while others like Emotional Rescue or Pretty Beat Up frustrate him because they failed to meet his personal vision. He isn't embarrassed by it, but he's also nostalgic. Jagger once said that writing songs is all about momentum, and when that spark fades, he moves on without looking back.